Qualifying underway here for round number 7 of the ACC Pro-Am Series here on IFWL, and we head to one of the great jewel boxes of ACC, of GT Racing, and of British Motorsport, Snetterton Circuit. And I think if you ask most of the drivers here, this is easily one of the more challenging circuits that these drivers are going to have to deal with. Let's ride on board here with Liam Turner. Out of turn number 1 into the heavy braking zone. Scary tree just in front of you on the left there. Late apex as we go through the Montreal hairpin. Off-camber, tricky left-hander here with a late apex. Call this the Poconos. Brake just at this second Sunoco sign. A little bit later there, Turner's brave and confident on the brakes in this McLaren. Back on throttle. This is another tricky one. It is close to that tire bell on the inside as you dare. Use all that runoff on the outside and then trail it onto the inside. Everything comes at you so quickly here. You got to be on the absolute limit and be ready. Down the back straightaway. Another potential overtaking opportunity, but this chicane right here is brutal. Another big trail braking necessity here. You gotta be so careful with that sausage curb on the inside. Through bomb hole into the carousel. Use those cones on the right as your braking marker. Ready, lift, brake. Trail into the final corner, on the gas immediately. Plenty of runoff on the outside to help you out. And Liam Turner in the 66 IFWL factory machine showing us how it's done at pace here in the UK. And it is currently the RTO machine, the Honda of Matt Whitburn on pole, with Tomek Rezik trying to close that gap. McLaren, second, fourth, and fifth for the time being. We've got a very Nismo-heavy front end of this field as well, with Ryan Hayward in the 99. Huge thank you to all of our affiliates here at IFWL for making streaming and hosting possible. Thanks to our friends at G-Portal, Moses Sim Racing, Fanatec, Abruzzi Simware, CD Keys, and Trophy.ai. Links to all of our affiliates can be found in the description and on our Discord. And a great shout here, as mentioned, from our showrunner, Bentley Massive News. All of our test season events are live as of today on simracing.gp. Excuse me, on SimGrid, and you guys can go ahead and register early. And I'll tell you what, for all of us in the booth, it helps us for that early commitment to give us a picture and start doing our homework. So go sign up. Should be a really, really good show. So early breakaway here for Whitburn, who's 800ths up from Liam Turner. He comes to the line with some good improvements, but still not quite there. Very close right now as Tomek Rezik closes that gap. The pole just a smidge behind for P2 pace right now. But we talk about the narrow margins of competition in GT3s. To have nearly a whole second up from the remainder of the field, that's really, really having your car dialed in. Especially in a circuit as short as Snetterton. That's an eternity. For those of you curious, the real-life GT3 record here. 146.116. Martin Kirchhofer did it in this very car. GT3 Evo, that was in the 2023 British GT round here. And right now with a 145.985 from this man right here, we are beating real life pace. Half a second up here, but Liam Turner is going to chip away at that gap. Some big improvements here, 3.5 tenths. That closes the gap to the front of the field by about half a second. Tomek Grezik, though, gets it down to 2 tenths, 0.195 the gap. And now he's second overall. The F Sport machine at full song. As Nate Henderson in the 31 works his way around up and down right now on that Delta with 2 minutes to go in qualifying. And big improvement, Wade Bowler rallying Barrett. Oh man. Do I make a Grimsby joke right now with Wade Bowler in that very specifically colored Ferrari 296? I'm tempted to. He's probably heard it enough this week. We'll spare it. You guys seen that Instagram page of the guy who has refused to cut his hair until Man U win 5 in a row? His hair is massive now. Just want to throw that out there. Grezik through bomb hole. Up and down on the Delta. It might not matter right now because Whitburn on another absolute flyer comes to the line and gets himself more insurance. A 145.625 makes it a half-second gap between himself and Grezik. Grezik going just even with his last lap. And with 45 seconds in qualifying, it's going to take a monster lap from somebody to get this done. Alessandro Conchi might be moving forward, though. He's half a second up on Delta right now. He comes to the line and jumps himself from P7 up into P4. It's a Nismo 4-5 for the time being. Henderson in one of the lone Aston Martins working his way now around the carousel. He's up 3 tenths. Turner has stayed in the pits. We will not see another attempt from him. This will be the last lap from Henderson. That might have been just a little bit wide there on exit. Is this a legal lap when he comes to the line? Checkered flag is out. This could be some big gains, nearly half a second up. It's P5 for the 31. Splits the two Nismos, and oh my goodness, throttle stuck and sails off into turn number 1. Oh my goodness. Not looking like it's going to be enough here for the turn 1 machine. Tomek Grezik. Hayward with an opportunity still to steal the show here as he's up just over a tenth here, 10th and a half. Out of Brundle and Nelson. Can really chuck the car through bomb hole with Camber helping you out. But through Corum, it's a balancing act on the throttle and on the brakes, just trying to get your car in a perfect position for the final 90-degree left-hander of Murray's. Got to be so careful not to run it too wide, go in the grass and invalidate your lap. But that Delta is still green for Ryan Hayward. He'll come to the line and improve up to P4 and once again leapfrog Henderson. Steve Parks comes to the line, and that will be all she wrote for qualifying. Whitburn untouchable to get us started here for round number 7. Can he match that? Or does Grezik and Liam Turner have anything for him here at the UK? We'll figure out the answer to that when we come back in just a couple moments' time. Stay with us. Set to go here from Snetterton. And Matt Whitburn has won all 6 races except one. Tomek Grezik was the one guy who's been able to really break that chain. He'll start on the outside of him here in row number 1. Liam Turner rolls off in 3rd alongside Ryan Hayward with a series best P4 qualifying result. Alessandro Contri in the Castrol car off in 21st alongside Nathan Henderson in the TF Sport machine. Way Bowler in the Man U car alongside Paul Whitburn in the 373. Then it's Andy Goodread, Macho Peas, our own for IFWL, Christensen, Stover, Glenadring, Parks, Stone, Fierro, and Hansen. 40 minutes of non-stop GT3 action going your way. One pit stop is mandatory. Who will come out on top? Can anyone stop the menace that is Matt Whitburn? Can we see another back-to-back win here for Tomek Grezik? Let's find out. Let's go racing here at Snetterton. Hayward thought about a lunge to the outside in that purple GTR, but backed out of it. Clean and green for the top 3 here. Looking further back, a little bit of a bobble for Contri as he defends to the outside. Henderson looking for a move as we work through Canada corner for the first time, but we're all in one piece further back. We are looking to be all good here. Good start, and Whitburn gonna try and take off. Out of Agostini for the first time. And through Hamilton. First turn that requires major commitment. And Whitburn putting the pace in early. Early pressure here for Paul Whitburn as Way Bowler gonna try to make the first move of the race. No peaks as we head into Brundle and Nelson for the first time. You can already see that gap start to form on the top right of your screen with Whitburn taking off from Grezik and the rest. Your biggest mover after lap 1, it's Zolt Safari in that Rinaldi Racing 223. A couple of guys gaining 1 or 2. He's got 2 in the process. Starting in 12th, now running in 10th. In trouble for Way Bowler. Oh my goodness. Gave it a little bit too much right foot there. And now rejoins in one piece. And that will be another spot for Zafari and others. Already a 1.7 second gap here from Whitburn to Grezik. But Hayward trying to chip away now and close this gap to the 2 McLarens and make it a fight for the podium early on here. Wants to keep them in sight and in mind. Back onto the Bentley straight here. Nathan Henderson is going to really try and stretch the legs of this AMR. Bit of a wiggle further up there from Conti. Goes wide. Conti does the same. Carries the speed, then throws it in for the braking zone. You can see how much the 31 here is undulating over the curbs. Is really, really making that car upset. And you can actually see the pace starting to come alive here for Grezik on your timing screen. Purple lap that last time by for the pole, a 146.865. As Whitburn able to get a good exit. Starts to make this battle for 6th a very real possibility. But he goes wide, heading into Agostini. Henderson does the same on exit, but Whitburn overdrives it in the first part of this middle section. And falls back to 9th. Andy Goodread with a peek to the outside through Hamilton. And now everyone gets checked up further back. Christensen and the lone Huracan just a little bit further back. Very, very shallow line there for Goodread. Christensen thought about a move, but this is a far too narrow part of the racetrack to make something like that happen. See everyone kind of slowly crawling to the outside of the track as we head into Brundle. Not giving people as narrow of a window as possible to make those gaps. Big wiggle for Whitburn again. More trouble for the 373. Too much throttle on exit there coming out of Nelson. And that's 2 more spots lost. I need to stop spectating this guy because I think the commentator's curse is starting to get to him. Purple lap in the books. This time it's for Whitburn with a 45.972. That's already put him 2.2 seconds up from Grezik and company. A little bit of a bobble for Goodread. Christensen gonna look to the inside here into Montreal. We'll try to get the move done on the anchors. Glenading waiting for a move further back. Still side by side. Christensen able to make that move, but Whitburn gonna try to go with him around the outside into Palmer. And makes that move done. 2 back for Goodread. Both of these guys, some great heads-up driving here. But now further back, Glenading trying to make it work around the outside. More damage for Goodread, but now Glenading goes deep on the brakes into Palmer. He'll lose 2 positions. Everybody overdriving here. More trouble further back. I think that was Goodread going up. It is, and he's given too much throttle there as a result. Excuse me, Mick Stone in the 232. Spinning. Not a lot of grip on this track. And if you try giving throttle on the curbings, it's so abrasive and such a slick paint. It is very easy to swap ends with too much throttle. Just about 10 minutes in here at Snetterton, and field is starting to dilute within the top 10. But in the battle for getting into that top 10 spot, it's starting to heat up just a little bit. Christensen trying to get on attack right now and close that gap to Whitburn. Once again, Whitburn going deep again. Another mistake for the 373. And Christensen gonna sail on by and take that P9 spot, but you can see this massive 4-link chain just behind him. I want to say hello to Chromajonik, Smoke Ira, and Mephistopheles spending their Sunday evening with us here in chat. On board of the Noller Esports machine, the 247 of Jacob Christensen. As looks like some problems further back there. Steve Parks, who is traded in the Turtle for the Mystery Machine McLaren. Maybe just the Mystery McLaren. Goes middle, trying to defend from Glenading. Further back, minimizing that toe effect down the Bentley straight. As further back, Goodread in And that factory-colored McLaren is right up the gearbox of Christensen. Another purple lap for Whitburn at the front of 45.707. Had a little bit of a mistake earlier on. Yellow flag came up on my timing screen, and that brought it down to about 2 seconds. But he's put his head down and now already put a 2.5 second gap on the pack. Once again, make that 3. Paul Whitburn. Looks like he'll come in now and elect for an early pit stop and go for a new set of Pirellis. On board with Goodread, working through Palmer. Starting to study Christensen. Great comment here from Ira in chat. I do think everybody is just overdriving. Get a little bit too eager, too early in this race, it would seem. Christensen has the advantage here in this inner loop section, the Poconos, and is starting to take off, but that McLaren's got the straight line. Been a good recovery, by the way, for Wade Bowler. He's already up 4 spots since his moment. Not sure why timing is telling me Christian Vieiro is behind him, because he's clearly made that move done, unless he's a lap down. Is just behind. There's some big movers here in the mid-pack. It's pretty much the exact same as they started, from first all the way back to 6th, but you look at P7, Macho P's up 3 spots in that Ferrari. Same for Zolt Safari, who has gained 4 as a result. Christensen up 2, Steve Parks up 3, Glenading up 1, and Vieiro up 2 as well. Already a 4-second gap for Matt Whitburn for the remainder of the fields here. And I think you look at the advantages that this NSX has. It's one of the older models. We don't see it in active GT competition, except ironically enough at this track in the British GT. Jazz Racing running it. But it's one of the true mid-engine cars, rear mid in every aspect. That V6 could not be closer to the driver if it wanted. Such a perfectly balanced car. Talking to some of the Gradient Racing folks who have driven it here in the IMSA Pilot Challenge, or excuse me, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. For beginners, it's able to be a very plow-heavy, understeery car. But for the Silvers and the Pro drivers, it can be absolutely knife's edge. And I think that's how Whitburn is getting that advantage. Glenading, we stepped away for just a minute, but he is putting the pressure on Steve Parks in the mystery McLaren for P11. Had the nose ahead of him at the end of the Bentley straight. We missed that earlier, but Parks able to defend and hold on to P11 for the time being. The history of Snetterton. Ooh, we've got one car off. Silferi! Our big mover of the race just gave it a little bit too much. lap traffic they're trying to navigate, but we're watching the replay here of what happened to Zolferi. Hamilton, one of the most challenging corners on the track. He's already up in the marbles. Didn't back out of it. Tried to keep it going full song. And had a tank slapper. Now finally backs out of it. Heartbreak for the 223. As now that's 2 Ferraris who have moved back significantly. There's Way Bowler just behind. Tim Glenading. Eight on the brakes there, trying to make a move. Almost got into the rear bumper. Lap traffic further behind, I believe. So. That's Hansen on the inside that they're letting through. This is worst case for Glenading. He wants to make quick work of this lap traffic. He has to take the suboptimal line, though, to get it done. Hansen going wide, trying to let him through. That gap went from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. It looks like both Christensen and Zolferi are going to elect for early stops, try to get themselves into clean air to move forward once again. Nobody home for Matt Whitburn, still in that 620 car with 5.6 seconds up from the fields. As we're reaching the halfway point here, it'll be interesting to see what the strategy is like for the remainder of these drivers. Everybody's so spread out that you're in clean air. So it's kind of a matter of you're actually maybe risking getting yourself closer to somebody if you come in at this point. I would not be surprised to see some of these drivers really go deep on these stints. We'll have to wait and see. 6 seconds now between Whitburn and Gressick. Henderson electing to come in from P6. Where is he going to come out? So again, just looking at your championship picture here, it is Matt Whitburn, who has won every single race except last week, round 6, where he came home in 16th. Gressick taking the win there. So, shocker to nobody, it's almost 60 points over the two of those. Then you look back, Jacob Christensen in 30s, not having the weekend he's wanted here in that Noller Esports Lambo. Just behind Tomic, actually, with 285 points. Liam Turner in 4th with 282. This will certainly, if we throw the checkered as they run right now, this will certainly propel him up a position. It is very, very close. Only 3 points right now separating the Dane Jacob Christensen from Liam Turner, who now comes into the pits from P4. Where is he going to be out on track as a result? Henderson finds himself a solid piece of racetrack here without interruption, so he can really, really unwind the performance of that TF Sport. Turner not on the jacks. It looks like he might just be going for fuel. Now here come the pair of McLarens. Good read. And Steve Parks going to come in with 90 seconds to the halfway point. The 3 McLarens coming in at this point. But we take a look at our map here. 31 of Henderson going to be very close to when the remainder of these guys come out. Here he is now out of the final corner. And there is still no pressure further behind. This is a great opportunity for Liam Turner, who was one of the quickest guys on track, to try and add insurance and potentially overtake Kresick with the undercut. Ronnie Hansen, the fellow Dane, looks like he's found his way off. Here is Goodread, who is now just rejoined behind Christensen. Parked not too far behind, but you look at the lap traffic. Your leader, Whitburn, just behind now. Hey, we're jumping into his box there. Gets very, very abrasive there on the inside. This is one of the shorter, all of the classic British tracks really have a short pit lane, or at least a short section of it with the garages. You've got to be on your marks immediately, because things happen very, very quickly. And it can get very, very cramped here. Not like the actual British GT rules where you have to park and then back it into your slot. And thank goodness for that, P's able to just ghost right through Hayward into his box. Quick stop. I don't even know if Hayward took fuel there. Immediately, when he was off the jack, just decided to go. As now he comes out, trouble for Parks. You take a look here. Did he overcook it coming into Brundles? Yes, he did. And the ultimate way you can tell that this grass is well maintained is because these guys are able to just slide right over it. I think they're actually going faster the minute they touch the green stuff. It'll be blue flag for Steve Parks this time by with 18 minutes to go. And this could be the only hope of potentially holding up Whitburn and giving Gresick a chance. Macho Peas on the fight here. The man you guys hear Wednesday nights for the beginner series, putting the pressure on the McLaren of Paul Whitburn, who's had a roller coaster Sunday to say the least. GT3 Conti is in now. Gotta be so careful running wide there. If you just get a section of that outer rear tire in the grass, that is Spin City. Macho Peas with that adaptive braking in that Ferrari, though, able to close that gap almost immediately despite the bumps and abrasiveness of this track. The ability to change that bias automatically on the fly makes that no problem for the Ferrari. Both of these guys have pitted. Here comes Way Bowler on the exit. This could be interesting. They'll clear the Man U car before they reach turn 1. Christensen further back, though, is closing that gap. He's in damage control right now for his championship. Looking away just a minute now as your two race leaders are coming in. Tomek Grsick and Matt Whitburn. What is the strat from Timothy Glenading? He's gone long on strat here as well. But we kind of start to get to the point of diminishing returns if you're waiting this long to switch. You're not getting that maximum life. This feels like about as late as you can go without it really making sense. But Timothy gonna stay out one more lap. He'll be the first guy who's not named Whitburn to lead tonight. Whitburn is out, and Liam Turner just now coming out of the final corner. So unfortunately, the undercut was a no-go. Andy Goodread in the 203, starting to close that gap to Wade Bowler as well. So for all of you Easterners, you're already going to know the lore behind this, but like any good old school British track, Snetterton, formerly a U.S. Air Force base during the Second World War, opened May of 1943, closed in 48, was returned to the local landowner, Fred Riches, which was the owner previously of the land before the Air Force asked if they could build it to protect their allies. And then after that, Oliver Sear and Dudley Coram of the Aston Martin's Owners Club approached Riches in 51 to suggest, hey, let's make a racetrack out of this. All of the other cool kids are doing it. Macho Peas, oh my goodness. As the Poconos claimed another. Again, just a little bit too much speed. The minute you see the rear suspension jumping up and down like that, chat, that's how you start to see blood in the water. Snetterton coming in for P3. We'll see how far he'll drop back as a result. Wade Bowler recovers now from 17th to 10th. Good recovery for him there. Going back to your guys' history lesson here. Riches agreed to letting these guys race on the airbase because all the cool kids did it. On a certain condition that there was no racing between 10:45 a.m. and noon on Sundays, as there was a local church warden. So all racing was stopped at that time. But the circuit was first used for motorcycle racing back in 1953. You can kind of see that with the inspiration here on the layout, as Goodread now continues to set his sights and now puts radar lock on Wade Bowler. But in the early days, track was used by Team Lotus in Formula One and Norfolk Racing Company in Le Mans to test their racing cars. And the version of the circuit as we know it today first broke ground in 1950, opened in 1951. But has hosted a plethora of different championships: British F3, the Euroboss series. You guys remember Euroboss? I remember when I was so little, all of the old billionaires racing retired F1 cars. Formula Ford's European Touring Car Championship, Euro F2. Right now, host to, I think most notably, BTCC, British GT, British Superbikes, and TCR UK. I think if we got anything quicker than GT3 machinery, someone would get properly hurt here. Could also be of note, all of the inspirations here for the corner names. Pretty much every single corner has a name here. As we see Whitburn working his way down the Bentley Straight into the two corners named after notable racing legends Martin Brundle and Lord Horatio Nelson, the first Duke of Bront. Bomb hole is just because you've got that big dip on the inside and it looks like a bomb went off at the apex. Dudley Corum's corner here. Into the final corner named after my goat, Murray Walker. Down the Ayrton Senna straight. This is Fred Rich's corner. And then technically two names here for the hairpin. We used to call it Montreal because it's very similar to the hairpin you see at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Since IndyCar legend Justin Wilson's passing in 2016, that's kind of also been adapted as its name as well from 2016 on. We're Jonathan Palmer's corner here. We've got the triple triangle corners, I like to call it. Palmer, Agostini, and Hamilton. Trying to figure out how to make this static again. Oh, didn't mean to screenshot. God, if you remember how to keep the static cam from moving, I want to go on a field trip with you guys and show you something. If someone in chat remembers how you can do that, I gotta knock off the rust on the PC controls. I'm so used to not having all these nice things like automatically flipping cameras and stuff. It's nice. Makes more trouble here for Ronnie Hansen. Really no contact with another car there, but this is Hamilton just got off the brakes a little bit too quickly, dumped all of that weight on the rear tires, and couldn't handle it. Hansen in a couple of incidents here. Again, a good recovery drive here for the Growling Ferret, Way Bowler. As he sets his sights now on Tim Glenading. Down the Bentley straight, only a handful of opportunities to really overtake at this point. Bentley's a tough one just because you need to trail brake and it gets so narrow through Brundle. Senna and Montreal are really your prime opportunities, turns 1 and 2. And Bowler likes this late apex around the carousel into Murray. Try and launch himself onto the Senna straight and give himself that opportunity. Let's see what he can do here with 8 minutes on the clock. Oh, Bowler very late on the apex. He still might be able to gather it back up. Somehow kept it out of the bumper there of Tim Glenading. That could have ended in heartbreak for the two. But absolutely everybody overdriving right now. More drama further back. Christian Vieru with an incident from 15th. He's carried on at full song. Good read. Oh my goodness. You could see that car bobble big time, pitching up and down, coming out of Hamilton. And that's where you just back off the throttle there and hope and pray that it doesn't want to swap ends. Good exit for Bowler here. Looks to the right of the M4. Are we going to see a move this time by? Braking point just after the bridge. Bowler had a hard commitment here, but Glenading having to go low and middle to defend. See how much tighter of a line there Bowler can take than Glenading. That front engine GT BMW struggling, the whole chassis binding up, trying to rotate around that corner. Much closer to Glenading than last lap. See how much later, though, Bowler is electing for that late apex into Montreal. A little bit of lap traffic further up ahead. This will be Hansen and I believe Macho P's just in front of them. As Hansen goes wide once again. Another car right in front. Glenading, a lot of confidence there in that GT. That M4 able to kind of monster truck over that curbing on the outside, knowing that it won't upset the car the way that low-slung Ferrari will. Ipto's on throttle. This will give another opportunity potentially to weigh, though. Trying to spook him with a peek to the inside, heading down Bentley, but gets back in line. If the pass itself isn't enough, then the pressure alone might be enough to do it. Force the guy in front of you to drive off the mirrors, lose that little bit of focus, and make a mistake, make a bobble, give that opportunity to him. And just up the road, actually, Jacob Christensen starting to come into view as well. Seventh, Whitburn. 8th, Christensen. 9th, Glenading. And 10th, Bowler. Top 3 is pretty much set at this point. Whitburn, Rezik, and Turner. A 20-second gap between the 3 pretty much. It's also important to mention one of the famous landmarks of this circuit, because Laguna Seca has the corkscrew. And the corkscrew sign. We got the roller coaster at the Nürburgring in Suzuka. We have the scary tree here, which has unfortunately been part of a major storm, I believe, just during 2020, and I'm not sure if it got blown away or taken down, or just got hit so hard it's kind of beyond recognition. You guys will see it one more time here. We'll ride on board with Way again so you guys can get a good view. Glenading's dump truck of a car, though, might be able to... Not in pace, it's just a big car compared to the Ferrari. Need to clarify that. Glenading's doing a bang-up job. Bowler is closer than ever, but both of these guys turning up the wick. It's given an opportunity for both of them to pounce on Christensen. You'll see that Lambo just turning in now. And here is the scary tree, right in the center there. The kind of lighter green one with the hands up, yeah! Rest in peace, scary tree. We miss you. Yeah, man, these guys are reeling in Christensen. That mid-engine V10 has all of that weight on the rear tires. And Jacob can just launch out of the apex here. Further back, Conti, side by side with Henderson. They bang doors going into Brundle. Big time commitment for Conti to make this move. Henderson doesn't give. They're side by side heading into Brundle. There's contact between the two, and Conti's got to back out of it. Not quite yet. Henderson has to give that position up. Wow, what a move by Conti. Let's get a replay of that move heading onto the Bentley straight. It was a great exit from Conti. He wastes no time to get himself in that prime spot heading into the chicane. They bang doors heading in. Great effort there from Henderson, able to trail, carry that momentum to the outside, and then park the bus on the apex. And then he kind of realized how unethical of a move that potentially was, and elected to give that position back. What a great piece of driving, though, from both of these drivers. Wow, wow, wow. Alessio Conti. Into Montreal. It'll be the white flag this time by. And now everybody starting to accordion back together here with a handful of seconds left. Christensen, Glenading, and Bowler. These guys have been on the absolute limit for the past 40 minutes. Are we going to see the crack show? Once again, we've already seen it a handful of times here with this man out in front, Paul Whitburn in the 373. Is anyone else going to be able to give? Glenading starting to give. And now Whitburn might have an opportunity. Or excuse me, Glenading might have an opportunity, not Whitburn. Into the chicane. Everybody starts to bunch up behind Paul Whitburn. They'll have one more lap to go. Good exit for Bowler. This could be an opportunity. If not now, if he can carry that momentum into the hairpin. We know how brave that Ferrari has been on the brakes. Keeping that move possible, keeping that move relevant, putting the pressure on the BMW. We'll jump back to that in just a minute. But it is very hard to not talk about the dominance that this man has had in the 620 NSX. An 11-second gap over who thought to be maybe the fastest man on track, the man who could have potentially broken that chain. Checkered flag is out. Matt Whitburn, winning 6 of the last 7 races, takes victory here at Snetterton. And we missed an incident here for Wade Bowler. Of course, the minute I look away, there's a moment. Goodread slips through as a result. Takes P10 from him. Not sure what happened there at the last minute. But Gressick, Turner, and Whitburn, your podium. Hayward gonna come home in P4. Conti with a Hollywood move. Over Henderson. Is gonna get that Nismo GTR into a top 5 result. Someone's doing donuts. Liam Turner burning it down. Oh yeah, baby. Good recovery drive for Steve Parks as well. Dolferri through the penultimate corner, going to be kicking himself over what could have been the biggest mover in the first half of this race. And he'll salvage a P13 result with Mick Stone coming in just behind P14. And that will be all she wrote from Snetterton. And Matt Whitburn continues his reign of terror on the PC Pro-Ams. And we'll see if that will become win number 8 when our British tour continues here. And the Pro-Ams take on Donington Park. Thanks so much for watching Assetto Corsa Competizione Racing here on IFWL. Reminder that you can join the fun on IFWL.net and get 50% off your Patreon.com membership, your gold membership at checkout using code JacksonL at checkout. For everybody at IFWL, I'm Jackson Lambros. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you down the road.